All right, so here we are with this beautiful AMG C180 in metallic silver, fully masked up and ready for some glossy action. And before you ask, no, there's no fresh base coat on here. We're going straight into clear coat today because sometimes you don't need to overcomplicate things to make a car look like it just rolled out of a showroom. Now, a lot of people panic when they hear no base coat. Relax. We're here to protect it and bring out that shine. Think of clear coat as sunscreen for your paint, except it makes your car look sexier instead of pasty. If you've ever wanted your car to blind your neighbors when the sun hits it, this is how you do it. Masking is absolutely key here. Anytime you're spraying clear coat, a clean and tight mask job saves you hours of sanding overspray later. So even though this looks like a car wrapped in brown paper and tape, trust me, this step is where pros are made. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you what not to do when spraying clear coat so you don't end up with runs, orange peel, or a dust collection on your car. Let's get into it. So before we even pick up the spray gun, take a good look at this setup. Every inch is masked, every line is clean, and this is what separates a professional finish from a weekend project. Preparation isn't the fun part, but it's the reason this car is about to look like a rolling mirror once that clear coat goes on. Before we got to this stage, we sanded down the old clear with 600 grit sandpaper to create a smooth, even surface for the new clear coat to bond to. This step is crucial. It gives the clear something to grip and helps avoid peeling or uneven texture later. You can see here how we worked panel by panel, making sure every shiny spot was dulled out. That prep work is what sets the stage for a flawless finish. We're wiping everything down with a clean microfiber cloth, and this step is way more important than most people think. See all that dust, sanding residue, and fingerprints? If you skip this step, you're basically sealing dirt under your paint. And trust me, no one wants to spend hours making their cars shine just to trap yesterday's lunch fingerprints under clear coat. Use a clean microfiber, not the one you wiped your dashboard with last week, and go panel by panel. Pay special attention to edges and corners where dust likes to hide. Think of this step like washing your hands before you eat. You wouldn't grab fries with greasy hands, right? Same logic here. A clean surface is key before laying down that perfect base coat. We applied our base coat and just take a moment to appreciate how clean and even it looks. Look at that metallic silver just waiting to shine under the clear coat. This is where the magic starts to really take shape. One thing you'll notice is how important a solid, uniform base coat is. Even before the clear goes on, it already gives the car depth and richness. See these smooth curves and edges? That's the kind of coverage you want. No patchy spots, no streaks, just one consistent layer that makes the paint pop later. And yes, it's okay to admire your work for a second. Just don't get too carried away and start polishing it yet. This step might look simple, but it sets the stage for that flawless, glass-like finish we're aiming for with the clear coat. So while we're just showing it now, keep in mind, a well-applied base coat makes the clear coat process way easier, more forgiving, and way more satisfying when that final shine hits. Up next, we'll get into laying down the first clear coat pass and really bring this AMG to life. All right, now comes the exciting part, the first clear coat pass. This is where everything we've done so far, sanding, cleaning, and that beautiful base coat starts to shine, literally. You want to start with smooth, even passes, overlapping about 50 to 70%, and keep your motion steady. Think of it like painting a wall, but way shinier, and with a lot more ego riding on it because, yep, this is a Mercedes AMG. Keep an eye on the edges and tight spots. Those areas love to run if you get too heavy-handed. And remember, clear coat isn't just about shine, it's protection. It seals the base coat, guards against scratches, UV rays, and makes that metallic silver pop like it's wrapped in glass. One thing I always like to remind people, the first pass doesn't have to be perfect. It's about laying a foundation for the next layers. Rushing here is like trying to bake a cake without preheating the oven. Sure, it might look okay at first, but it's not going to have that smooth, glossy finish. Also, a little tip. Watch for any dust or tiny particles while spraying. They happen to the best of us, but catching them early saves you hours of sanding later. And if you notice the spray starting to dry too fast or getting light spots, slow down or adjust your gun speed slightly. So take your time, keep it consistent, and enjoy this part. There's nothing more satisfying than watching your base coat start to glow under that fresh layer of clear. In the next clip, we'll add more passes to really build depth and get that mirror-like shine everyone dreams about. All right, we're letting that first coat flash off now. This step might feel like downtime, but it's actually one of the most important parts of spraying clear coat. Flash time is what allows the solvents in the clear to evaporate properly before we add the next layer. Skip this, and you risk trapping solvents under the surface, which can lead to solvent pop, bubbles, or a cloudy finish. And nobody wants that on a car like this. Usually 10 to 15 minutes is enough, but it depends on your temperature, airflow, and the product you're using. That's why having good lighting and proper air movement in the booth is key. So while this coat flashes off, take a minute, check for any dust or imperfections, and get ready for the second coat. Patience here pays off in depth and gloss later. All right, time for the second coat of clear, and this is where the depth really starts to show. The first coat was all about building a foundation. This one is about coverage, shine, and making that metallic silver look like it's been dipped in glass. The goal here is to keep your passes smooth and consistent, overlapping around 70%, but now you can go just a touch wetter than the first pass. That extra material helps level the surface and gives you that deep, glossy look. Take your time around curves and edges. This is where clear coat likes to run if you get too heavy. And don't worry if it looks a little hazy as you're spraying. As it flashes, it levels out beautifully. A big tip: always spray with good lighting, because the reflections are your guide. Watch the wet edge and follow it panel by panel. This helps you avoid dry spots and uneven gloss. This second coat is where the car starts to come alive. The metallic flakes in the paint start popping, the reflections get sharper, and you start to see that true showroom shine. Once this is down, we'll let it flash again, check for any tiny imperfections, and then lay on that final coat to lock in the gloss. Now we're letting that second coat of clear flash off, and this step is just as important as spraying itself. Flashing allows the solvents in the clear to evaporate properly, which helps the clear settle, level out, and achieve that deep, glossy finish. If you rush this stage, you risk trapping solvents underneath, which can lead to solvent pop, bubbles, or a hazy, uneven surface. Definitely not the look we're going for. This is also a great time to step back and inspect the panels. Look closely at the reflections. If they're starting to sharpen and smooth out, that's a sign the clear is leveling nicely. Watch for any dust nibs or imperfections that might need to be addressed later during polishing. Flash time will vary depending on temperature, humidity, and booth airflow, but generally you're looking at about 10 to 15 minutes between coats. Don't be afraid to give it an extra minute or two if your environment is cooler. Patience here pays off in that mirror finish we're after. This part may feel like waiting around, but in reality, it's where the clear does its magic. While you're waiting, check your spray gun, check your lighting, and prepare for the final pass, because that last layer is what's going to lock in all this depth. And now we're on to the final clear coat pass, and this is the one that really brings everything together. This coat isn't just about protection, it's about depth, gloss, and that mirror-like finish everyone dreams of. Keep your passes smooth, overlapping consistently, and aim for a slightly wetter coat than before. The goal is to let the clear flow and level perfectly across every panel. Pay attention to edges, corners, and tight spots. This is where runs or uneven gloss can sneak in if you're not careful, so slow and steady wins the race. Watch your reflections as a guide. They'll tell you if the coat is even and smooth. By the end of this pass, the metallic silver base coat underneath starts to really pop, and you'll see that deep, wet look forming. Once this flash off is complete, the car will have that flawless, professional showroom shine. Remember, patience here is key. Rushing can ruin the finish, but taking your time gives you that glassy, mirror-like depth that makes all the prep work worth it. And here we are, letting the final clear coat flash off. This is the moment where all the prep, sanding and layering pays off. The clear has leveled perfectly, giving that deep, mirror-like gloss that makes this metallic silver pop. Take a moment to appreciate the smooth reflections and flawless finish. This is what patience, proper technique, and careful application get you. Once fully cured, the car will not only shine like new, but be protected for years to come. A quick reminder, always inspect the surface for any tiny dust nibs or imperfections, because catching them now makes polishing later much easier. And just like that, we brought this AMG C180 to a professional, showroom-ready finish.